Hi, you're on Hollywood Babylon with Marty Keegan. How are you?
Hey, Marty, how you doing? San Antonio, Tarver.
Well, a former light heavyweight champion of the world, man, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. We appreciate you coming on. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing real good, man. Training hard. We're getting ready for my next date, which is April 22nd. It'll be in Atlantic City, and it's live on ABC Network TV.
Well, we'll be watching now. Where are you from, Antonio?
Originally Orlando, Florida, but I live in Tampa, Florida now.
Orlando, Florida, man. Now, you and the Alpha Dog, you and Justin Timberlake, the two guys. I got a feeling you could kick his ass. I'm going to go out on the limb.
I can do that, too.
Dude, what is it with Justin Timberlake? Do you buy him as the Alpha Dog? I don't.
He's doing his own thing, man. He has a big fan support, so, he can pretty much do what he want to do, say what he want to say. He's selling albums, and, he's a big performer, and people want to see him. So,
yeah.
I mean, he's at the top of his game now. He's doing movies and everything, so, God bless him, man. Keep doing his thing, you know what I mean?
But, Antonio, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say if you gave him that really hard-ass pre-fight stare, he might wet himself. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think there needs to be a punch thrown, man. I think that you could just give him the stare and dude would cower.
You know what? I'm a firm believer. I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm sure he going to stay in his.
Hey, now listen, you did such a great job, and I'm not saying that to kiss your ass. I came out of that movie, first of all, I thought that movie, Rocky Balboa, was tremendous, and I saw it at a screening here in L.A. at the studio, and everybody who came out that was over 45 was just looking for a fight. They just felt like they could do it. So, now, you had a good time doing that movie?
Man, I had a great time, man. Like I said, I'm forever indebted to Sylvester Stallone for giving me that great opportunity. And, I'm still, man, dreaming. And when you just look at everything, the aftermath, you know what I mean? And then all the people, the response from the people and, how great the movie did. I mean, we were surprised, of the moment with the movie doing so well in America. And now I hear we're doing big records, big numbers over in Europe. So I'm just happy, man, and looking forward to the DVD release. And I'm just excited. I'm just glad to be a part of such a great franchise, the Rocky franchise. And like I said, I'm still dreaming. I can't believe it.
Now, listen, he got busted with human growth hormone in Australia, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say, if he's not on that, there is no draw that you put him down.
You know what? In the movie, I actually won the fight. I won the decision. So but on the DVD, they taped it both ways. You can even edit your own ending to it and everything. So but I'm not going to get personally involved in that because I feel bad for the incident even taking place. But I'm not going to put my 2 cents in it. No.
I'm just joking with you. I'm just joking with you. I'm a comic, man, so I got to throw a few of those in there. But I'm not.
I don't believe in it. I wouldn't advise anyone to take anything other than that's natural. I've always been 100%. You got guys in sports right now that are always looking for the advantage, or looking for the upside, the shortcut. But I believe in hard work, and I just let God guide me. So I've always been 100% natural, and when you see me in the ring and you see me perform, that's what you get.
Now, but Antonio, how do you feel about it in general? Because if I was you and I'm fighting and I'm natural, and it's dangerous in there, and it's not fair for a guy to have some kind of super bionic advantage that could hurt you. What's your feeling on it?
Well, I mean, in real life boxing, I don't agree with it. We test before and after every fight, so that's a good thing. People have been caught with it before. I don't know how. I mean, now they're saying, I don't know if it's true, that Evander Holyfield has been using the stuff throughout his career. And if that's the case, Evander Holyfield at one time was considered one of the best heavyweights in history. I think he's 4-time heavyweight champion. And for him to, if it's true, if they find out it's true that he's been using the stuff, I mean, I think it's a shame. You know what I mean? I think you have to put an asterisk, on his accolades.
Yeah.
And, that would be unfortunate because I remember Holyfield and I idolized Evander for so many years. I remember the epic battles that he had with the likes of Riddick Bowe and, other guys like Tyson and so Lennox Lewis. And so, that would just be a shame if they found out that he had been using the stuff throughout his career. It would be.
Yeah, it does.
Roy Jones has been caught using it, as taking the shortcut, but it didn't help him. I knocked him out in 2 rounds. So like I said, what God has for you, no man can take away, and I'm a firm believer of that, and I'll continue to let him lead and guide me.
All right. Well, listen, the important thing about that Roy Jones fight is I had my money on you. Thank you.
Good.
Your check should be in the mail. Now, hey, now listen, look, about the movie, you were very natural in the movie, and the question I have for you, as a writer, director, and a guy who makes his living in this business, is at what point do you maybe cut your boxing career short and go do this full time? Because I think you have a career there.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you said that. I've already booked my second movie. It's a small cameo because right now they're going to be shooting this month and next month. And due to the fact that I'm training for my next fight, I'm only going to be able to make a cameo. But I'm going to make a nice cameo in this upcoming film called Scout's Honor. And it sort of reminds you of Home Alone. It's like a bunch of kids go off to camp, and I'll be playing a pastor. I'll say a nice farewell to all the kids as they load the camp bus and go off to camp. And then when they're away, their town is overran by bikers, a big biker group. Matt Geiger, a lot of the local athletes here from the Tampa Bay area be playing major parts in the film as this biker gang comes and just takes over the town. And these kids come back from camp and to give the bad guys a lesson that they'll never forget. So it's a really nice movie produced by Jim Fitzpatrick, and I'll play a pastor, and I can't wait. And I think I'll shoot probably the next 2 weeks. So that'll be my next screen appearance. And I want to do some things. I've been approached in doing a lot of things and haven't really been able to take full advantage of it because I'm still right now committed and dedicated to boxing. This is a sport that has given me everything that I have, even the opportunity to play alongside Sylvester Stallone and Rocky Balboa. So, you want to
milk it for everything you can, and when
not
it's
really
over,
milk it. I'm not really milk it. I just think I'm at the top of my game still.
Right.
I mean, when you look at my record, I lost 4. I have 4 losses. I've came back to avenge 3 of those losses, and I look forward to avenging my last loss to Bernard Hopkins. So, and to say that I beat every guy and every man that I stepped in the ring with, it's a feather in my cap. And so I'm not hell-bent on fighting Hopkins again if he don't want it, but I still have a lot of unfinished business in boxing. I'm still one of the biggest names in the sport, and I think that boxing right now needs that figure. It needs that figure that the ordinary people can relate to, and I think I'm that guy. When you look at Rocky, I'm the real life Rocky story. When you look at all the things that I had to overcome in my career, the setbacks, ups and downs, and then to always seem to land on my feet. I think it's a good story, and I think America needs to know about it. So that's why I still feel that I have unfinished business in boxing.
Well, we've got a text board here, so people who are listening, they're texting in comments, and we've got Carrie Ann saying you're pretty fly for a fight guy. So, of course, she tells me I'm pretty fly for a white guy, so, whatever. And at any rate, now, listen, when you guys were blocking all the fight scenes in the movie, did you help choreograph it, or how did that work with Stallone?
Well, Sly was very open-minded to the suggestions, that I had, and I didn't get director's credit, but I think my input in the fight scenes, because he wanted to be realistic and real and as real as can be. Definitely I had a major input in the fight scenes, and he trusted me, so that was a good thing.
Well, how much were you guys? I mean, obviously you're pulling punches. You couldn't go all out on him, but I mean, were the body punches? You're hitting them halfway, or?
Yeah. Well, the body punches, we wanted those to be real. I mean, we both are men in there, and I mean, we can take it. I'm in the hurt business, so a lot of times he was able to go to my body, and feel free to land a good punch. And I did the same thing. But this guy, once the shooting started, I mean, he really wanted me to knock the hell out of him. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at this guy like, man, are you crazy? Do you really know what would happen if I landed a solid punch? Well, needless to say, he got caught with a bunch of good shots. I hurt my knuckle in the process. And, when it was all said and done, we had a heck of a fight scene. And but we did get some bumps and bruises for sure.
So did he surprise you? Was it tougher than you thought, especially a guy who's 60 years old?
I mean, he's very tough. I mean, I wouldn't want to meet him in a back alley anywhere. I mean, he has a lot of guts, and that's what makes a tough fighter. You know, he has the heart, and I believe in his minds of all minds. I mean, he think he can really compete with the best of them. I mean, he's a boxing historian, and he's been a part of boxing for years. And you know, if he had all over to do again, I'm sure he can see himself being a world champion.
Well, you know, I was boxing once, training with a guy. He was a heavyweight champion kickboxer, and we were boxing, and he was training me. And the guy had like a flashback, and he gave me a left to the ribs. It like knocked me into next week. I was like, dude, you're teaching me. You're not beating the shit out of me. Can you take it easy? My rib still isn't right. Was there any point where he caught you and you just went on automatic pilot and you threw a left and just nailed him?
Well, you know what? When we got into the fight scenes, you know, it felt so much like a real fight. Where,
right.
You know, you have your adrenaline is flowing, and you know, you got all these people and cameras around, and sometimes, you know, you just want to look the best. You know, and then it got to a point where it was competition. Even though we had this choreographed fight, you know, I wanted to be my best. I wanted to be as fast and quick as I can possibly be because I knew this would be on film forever and a day. And I mean, there was times where, you know, I saw good shots. I landed them, you know, and he couldn't take that back. And then he'll come back and try to get me back. And before you know it, you know, we had a nice little sparring session. You know
That's nice.
When it really got heated, he always said, cut.
Oh, hey, man, that's the power. That's not beautiful, man. Every time you lose, wouldn't that be great in real life? Cut. Let's take a break.
Cut.
Yeah, stuntman. Just bring in a stuntman. That would be great. Now we got Mrs. Roboto on the board is saying is it cool to pretend you're beating the crap out of Stallone? And you know, along that line, I got to say, you know, everything probably. This will be remembered more than anything else in your boxing career because the movie will live on for 200 years.
It will live on, and so that's the ironic thing about it. You know, that's when I think about that, I really get chills. You know what I mean? And
right.
Just to say, you know, my career boxing, I've done some great things, but when people remember me, I think they're gonna remember Antonio Tarver, Mason the Lion Dixon. So you know, but I still have a lot of stuff to do. I want to stamp my ticket to the Hall of Fame. Canastota, New York, and be right now. My goal in boxing is to be respected amongst my peers and the people that have really laid the pathway for me before me. Guys like Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, and, you know, Muhammad Ali. Those people are right now who I'm trying to earn their respect because those are the people that are gonna say yeah or nay when it's my turn to get called to the Hall of Fame.
Who is or was your favorite boxer growing up as a kid?
Most definitely Muhammad Ali for what he did in and outside the ring, just his personality, you know, his bravado, and, you know, he had the type of confidence that, you know, I don't think many athletes has outside of Michael Jordan, maybe Tiger Woods, just to name a few.
Right.
But this guy truly believed in himself to the point where he willed his will on people. And guys like George Foreman, when, you know, going into that fight, he didn't have a chance in hell to win. I mean, he did it. You know, because he believed in himself, and you know, I take a lot of that from out of his page and put it in my book when it comes down to just believing in yourself and having that personal endurance. You know, when the deck is stacked against you, even if it's just you that believes, that's more than enough.
You got me fired up, man. I'm ready to go. You know, the funny thing is, I always feel like boxing. People talk about how brutal it is and all that, which it is, but I always feel like it's the last bastion of real American capitalism because usually it's people who come from a poor background and they've had a lot of disadvantages in life. And if you got heart and you want it bad enough, you can drag yourself up by your bootstraps and look what you've done with your career and where you're at and where you're headed, and you're still going forward, man. And I think it's very inspirational.
Thank you, man. I feel the same way, man. I think that's when I say the real life Rocky story. You know, when you think about where I come from, man, it's a miracle. But you know what? I never gave up. I never stopped believing. And you know, just to say that I'm here right now, I always felt that I could have made it. And but when the going was tough, I mean, it was tough. And so, you know, that's what made me the man I am and the athlete that I am today. So, you know, for that, I'm proud of it. If I had if I had it all over to do again, I wouldn't change a thing, believe it or not, because, you know, now I can appreciate all my hard work. You know what I mean? I really can.
Now, listen.
And I can really see the fruits of my labor.
Yeah. Hey, listen, there is satisfaction, isn't there, when you know it's over and you're taking a look at it.
Satisfaction.
Yeah, but even when you win, there's a great line. I think it's the second Rocky when they're asking him if there'll be another fight, and he says, you know, when you get hit 800 times in the face, it starts to sting after a while. You know,
Right.
what does it feel like? I know, you know, during the fight, you're hyped up. It's adrenaline. You know, you don't feel as much, but the next day, you know, I was a hockey player, and I know sometimes big games are very sore, but, you know, this is even more dramatic for you. I mean, your whole body's just got to be achy and sore, I imagine, after the day of a big fight.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I've only been really hurt in a boxing match one time when I had my jaw broken in 2000. That was the most pain I ever felt in all my life. But other than that, you know, you're going to be sore. Most of the time you're sore just from exertion. You know, you're punching the other guy, and you can get sore. Your arms and your forearms are sore. But it's safe to say that I've never really been hurt in the boxing ring other than that. And, you know, I'm usually at the club, you know, celebrating my victory after the fight. You know what I mean? And but you take time out. I usually go on a nice little vacation to get away. And happy to say that I'm a newlywed, just got married.
Oh, congratulations.
On the 19th of February. Yeah, so I'm excited, man, in my life right now. It's taking on a whole new chapter, man. And so I'm focused right now. And I think the latter part of my career, people are going to really see just how great a boxer I am. And
well,
I think
great.
I got a lot more to show the people.
Well, you're mature, you know, so you mentally, emotionally, so you're focused, you know. And I think a lot of times the younger people, just in general, they lack focus in whatever the endeavor. It doesn't have to be a sport. You know, when you get older, you get more focused. You realize the time is limited, and you want to make the most of it, right?
Most definitely. I couldn't have said that better myself. And that's where we're at. We're in the final chapter. I've given myself 2 years to really accomplish all that I can in boxing. When I step away, hopefully there's a spot in Hollywood for me. So, you know,
no, absolutely there is, man. I hope that I get to work with you sometime in something I do, because I thought you were terrific. I just want to ask you one more question, because I know you got to go. Would you, if you have a kid, would you let him box? Would you teach him how to box for self-defense? Would you want him in the ring professionally? What's your opinion on that?
You know what? Believe it or not, I do have a son. My son is 19 years old. He's a star basketball player down here in Central Florida. He made the All-Star team. Their team went to the Final Four in the state championships, and they lost to the eventual state champions.
Wow.
And his name is Antonio Tarver Jr. You know what? As a kid, you know, he always loved to come to the gym with me, and he'll be hitting the bags and, you know, hitting the mitts and emulating me. And but you know, I never wanted him to box. I never pushed him into boxing. And you know, I'm glad, because it's a tough sport. And I wouldn't want anybody I love to have to go through the things that I have to go through, getting up at 5:30 in the morning, making all these sacrifices, man. It's a tough job.
Right.
And I wouldn't do it if God hadn't blessed me with the gift and the talent. You know, I knew as early on as a youngster that this was my purpose. So, you know, it's a difference. You know what I mean?
How old were you when you started boxing?
10 years old. 10 years old. And shortly after that, I became one of the best fighters in Florida. And, you know, I'm one of the most decorated amateurs in U.S. history, and have gone on and to have a illustrious professional career. So, you know, sometimes God just makes us unique in certain things. You know, Tiger Woods, you know, he didn't have no doubt what he was going to become, you know, because he knew he was a golfer. He was born to be a golfer. I don't think Michael Jordan had a doubt. So, you know, it's just sometimes God blesses us in a unique way, and he made me a boxer, and, you know, I wouldn't want to do anything else. But when it's over, and I never really pushed my son to take up boxing, even though I'm sure he probably has it in his heart. But, you know, he would have to come to me and say, Daddy, this is what I want to do, and then I'll assist him to be the best boxer that he can. But I would never coerce him to do that at all, no, because it's a tough sport. I don't want to see my son get hurt. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
it would be painful for me to watch.
You've carved out an easier life for him. He's got more options, you know, and that's
right. Most definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. My father used to say the same thing. I root for you any sport. I'd really have a hard time if you're a fighter. You know, it's just tough to watch you get hit. You know, so
most definitely.
Antonio, man, awesome. I really appreciate you coming in, and look forward to meeting you sometime, and wish you all the luck in the world in your next fight. And we're gonna give away a copy of the Rocky Balboa DVD so people can see your fine acting, and I know I'm going to see you in other things to come, my friend.
Thanks a lot, Marty. And once again, I just want to let the people know it's on ABC Network TV. First time in about 25 years, it's coming right to your home. Don't have to pay for cable.
The only thing that's missing is Howard Cosell. That's the only thing we're missing is Howard Cosell. All right?
April 22nd. Don't miss it. I appreciate it, Marty.
All right, pal. Good luck.
Thanks a lot, my man.
Bye-bye.